Daniel Andrews' legacy is that he trashed Victoria's reputation, not only around our country. Daniel Andrews trashed Victoria's reputation around the world. Around the world, they talk about how Victoria reneged on its commitment to hold the Commonwealth Games. And maybe it is the case that had a proper business case been done, no decision should ever reasonably have been made to hold the Commonwealth Games. But that's not the point. The point was Daniel Andrews, on a hoax, on a con, committed our state to the Commonwealth Games and then backed out, unceremoniously and in the most humiliating way for Victorians, and will pay the price for that for a very long time. That's not a legacy you can be proud of. And then, just last week, Daniel Andrews made promises to the Victorian people that he would fix our housing crisis. He looked them in the eye and he promised them that he would deliver 800,000 new homes in 10 years. He might as well have promised 8 million homes in 10 years, because in 12 months' time, we won't see 80,000 homes. And in 12 months' time, Daniel Andrews will not be here to deliver on that promise. He made a promise to the Victorian people last week when he knew that he was going to resign today. That's not a legacy anyone can be proud of. Victorians know the challenges we now face as a result of corruption, as a result of incompetence and terrible waste. And all of this comes at a price. It means that we have to miss out on other important things, whether it's health, education, child protection, access to justice, better roads, better community facilities. That's the price we pay when a government is incompetent, corrupt or wasteful. My vision is for a very different Victoria, one where we believe passionately that we have to build prosperity in our state so that we can share that prosperity no matter where you live, whether it's in inner Melbourne, outer Melbourne, our growth corridors or our rural and regional areas. The way to do that is to make Victoria a place to invest, an attractive destination. You don't discourage investment in Victoria by jacking up payroll taxes, land taxes, schools taxes, health taxes, and now holiday taxes. All that does is tell people that it's too hard to invest in Victoria. My vision is very different. My vision is the key to jobs and financial security, access to hospitals and ambulances when you need them, wherever you need them, is to build prosperity in our state, to believe in our ability to create an engine room for the nation. Victoria has always been a proud leader when it comes to economic development and growth. I want to get us back to that point. Why? Because ultimately we're here to look after people. And you look after people when you give them an economy that gives them jobs, and hospitals that are functional and accessible, schools where we have teachers and buildings that are conducive to good learning, with supports for kids who need it, child protection services that can look after those who are most disadvantaged. You can't do that if you don't build an economy that serves the people, and that's what we're here to do. There's another legacy that I want to talk about. Daniel Andrews has trashed Victoria's reputation as a state that once upon a time led the nation in ethical standards of governance. We had a public service that was regarded widely and indisputably as the best in the country. That's no longer the case. But it's not beyond us as a state. As an alternative Premier, I promise the Victorian people one of my top priorities will be to re-establish Victoria's reputation for ethical governance, where the public service is allowed to do the job we need it to do, to provide frank and fearless advice. And that's not some esoteric side issue. The ability of our agencies and stakeholders and departments to provide frank and fearless advice. What can that mean? It may mean that you don't have the tragedy of hotel quarantine, because you have lots of people providing government with the best advice. You don't have blowouts on
John Pesutto, the Victorian opposition leader, a day where he might think he's back in the game, because the big figure, the huge figure in Victorian and Australian politics, Dan Andrews, has announced he's resigning. He's the 48th Premier of Victoria. He's been Premier since December of 2014. As of 5 p.m. tomorrow, that will be no more.